Newtcraft here. While editing my last video, I realized that I would need more light in my workspace. And being me, I decided to build my own. We'll start with one of these deep full dishes and two lamp sockets. I'm going to mark where I want them to go and then cut out the holes in a few different ways and see what works best. I don't think I found the best way, but I found some ways. Now, let me just say, this is not a how-to. This is only a how I did it. I take no responsibility if anyone tries to copy what I'm doing here. I started by using a utility knife to cut the rough shape, so I have something to start with. When cutting with a knife this sharp, keep in mind where the blade is facing and where it will go if it slips. Here I had my finger in the way, so I pulled my index finger back to make sure that even if the blade slips, my finger would be safe. At first I tried using my Dremel to round it out completely. This was a loud and slow process, but I did eventually get the hole sized correctly for the light fixture. And so I moved to my next idea. Gradually cutting closer and closer to the marked line and pulling any additional pieces out with my gloved hand and then checking to see if the socket fits. Always try to close your knives when putting them down to do anything else. Accidents happen way too fast and easily. Take that extra second and thank yourself later when a closed knife falls on your foot. So here I tried riding the side of the blade on my knuckle and slowly turning, but this was unreliable and prone to slipping. But it did get the job done. Lastly, I tried the same but going slower, and this had the best results. Now I can start wiring these up, but before I do, let me show you how to secure the lead inside the socket with the underwriter's knot. This will remove the strain from the contacts and prevent the live wires from pulling out of the socket. You start by taking the cable on the right, looping it and laying it on itself. Then feed the other wire through the back of the loop, loop it over and through again, and then pull everything tight. Here is a photo of the finished knot. I want to connect two lights on one line, so I measured roughly how much I would need and cut that with wire cutters. To split them, I use a knife to make a short cut down the middle and then just pull them apart. I'm just checking to make sure they will fit without pulling on the cord. And of course, it fits perfectly. I'm trying to add the main lead in, but a second cord is not fitting. No matter what I try, it will not fit through. So I'll have to improvise. And what I did next worked, but I would not feel comfortable suggesting it to anyone else. I found a drill bit that is just a little bigger than the current opening, and with a gloved hand held the socket and drilled the opening up just enough for a second cord to fit through. I don't need to do this with both, as only one will have two cords. And here is something else you can do a lot better and safer. Use wire strippers instead of a knife. But whenever stripping wires, twist them in a clockwise direction. Make this a habit because at some point you're going to use a screw-on connector, and if your twist goes the wrong way, you'll end up with a mess. I'm going to solder the ends, so while I wait for the soldering iron to heat up, I'll start working on the second light real quick and follow the exact same procedure, good and bad parts. Having a set of helping hands would have helped a lot here, but I don't have a set yet, so I just had to struggle along. While soldering, try not to touch the solder to the iron. Rather, have the iron heat up the wire and have the wire melt the solder. This way, your solder will flow better and you'll have better coverage. When you're done with your soldering iron, remember to use the stand to place it in a safe spot to cool off where it cannot burn anything around it, and most importantly, will not fall over. Now let's have a quick look at the bulb socket. You'll always see two contact points for live and ground, and usually some mechanism for the switch. I'll be using a star or Phillips head screwdriver. Even though this isn't really a Phillips head, that's what it's called here, and yes, I will die on that hill. Now, let's really start wiring this up. For fixtures like this, polarity is not important, so we can grab the first wire and hook that up. Loosen the screw and slide the wire under the screw from the left hand side. This ensures that when you tighten the screw, the wire will be pulled into the assembly and not pushed out. I had some trouble with the thicker double wires, but I ended up using some tongs to squeeze them flat, and this helped me out a lot. And we'll do this for both of them. Because the caps were only designed for one cord and therefore one underwriter's knot, I struggled quite a bit to get them to fit, but with enough persuasion, I got them to play along. And now the same thing for the second light box. For the light bulbs themselves, I used 60 watt equivalent soft white LED bulbs. A quick pro tip: when taking bulbs out of the box, look at the image on the side and open the bottom. This allows you to grab the small end of the bulb and makes it easier to pull out instead of trying to grab the rounded end. And finally, we can plug this in and test it. And there we have it, light. Which is fantastic, But there's one little problem. It's still a pretty hard light. So we'll soften this with a diffuser. And when I say diffuser, I really mean a double layer of shower curtain. This works great as a diffuser if your setup won't get too hot. And mine shouldn't, but only time will tell. This shower curtain also came with some magnets, which I'll be using in a different upgrade project very soon. I started by just cutting a wide strip. I'm using my right angle here because it has a long straight edge, but I could have used any straight edge really. And that right there is why I always close my knives. I bumped into mine pretty hard because I couldn't see it. But it was closed, so no cuts for today. Now I'm seeing where to split this again, and I was off with a little bit, but I still made it work. First though, we need to be stupid again and use masking tape to try and tape this whole thing together. Don't use masking tape on anything you want to hold down for a long time. Masking tape is designed not to be super sticky and peel right off. Rather, use packing tape, which I just remembered I had laying around. All that time I've killed. Type F in the comments to pay respects. And I'll go back and redo the first one, or just cover it with a lot of tape. I'm not really sure. One more test, and now we have diffused lights. And this is what it looks like. The shadows are a lot softer and will hopefully help with filming future projects. I would like to thank everyone for watching. I will have links to my social media in the description below. And if you want to see any of the other crazy things I'll be getting up to, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and ringing the notification bell. As always, stay kind to yourself, stay kind to others, and be good. Thank you, and bye-bye.